Chapter 30. Seal the Fox continued to complain. She must have a certain type of herb that was not in her kit. It could only be found in mossflower wood at the dark of night. Clooney listened to the fox's pleas, knowing they were merely an excuse to gain her freedom. He paused as if to deliberate, watching the hopeful expression on Seal's face. I can see that you need this herb, so why don't you send your son Chickenhound to get it? Seal is never so stuck for a ready answer. No, I'm afraid that's useless, sir. He's too young and unexperienced. Chickenhound wouldn't know where to start looking. Clooney nodded sympathetically. You're probably right. I suppose I'll have to sketch a point. You go off to the woods to search for this vital herb. But be warned, Fox. There'll be 2 rats with you all the time. One false move and I'll have the bushy tail of yours to trim the collar of my war cloak. Is that understood? Seal's head bobbed vigorously. Of course, sir. What reason would I have to play you false? I'm looking forward to a good share of plunder once I've killed you and Redwall is conquered. The big tail snaked out and caressed the fox. Of course you are, my friend. How silly of me. Clooney actually smiled. Seal shuddered. That evening, Seal left the church, accompanied by Redtooth and Fangburn. Secretly, she would have danced with delight. Only 2 guards. With her knowledge of Mossflower, Seal would quite easily get the slip for 15 minutes or so. Back at the church, Clooney had risen from his bed. He attemperedly and exploitory rock, leaning on his banner as he stumped gingerly around the room. Good. In a short while, he'll be back to his old self. Clooney spoke aloud to the picture of Martin, bound to his standard. That fox should easily give those idiots of mine the slip. Then she can deliver my false plans to your abbot. It's all going along quite smoothly. Bit of blows for your side, eh, Mouse? Twilight tinged Mossflower Wood. Sheila sniffed the breeze. She glanced up at the sky. It would soon be dark, and she would keep her ravenous with the mouse abbot at the old stump. Redtooth and Fangburn were both unhappy and uncomfortable. For the last hour, Sheila had led them through stinging nettles, swarms of midges, and marshy ground. They blundered along, hacking at the undergrowth with cutlass and spear. I think we must be somewhere near the Mouse Abbey, Fangburn said. Stow the gab and keep your eyes on the fox, Redtooth snarled. I wish I'd brought some lanterns along with us, Fangburn whined. Redtooth's already dangerous, thin patience snapped. He grabbed hold of his sniveling crony and started shaking him. Listen, thickhead, if you don't stop your moaning, I'll chop your tongue out with my cutlass. Do you hear me? Fangburn struggled free. Angrily, he jabbed at Redtooth with his spear. You dare try anything with that blunt old bread knife, and I'll spear your gizzard before you can blink an eye. Oh, yes, you will you? Yes, I will, you smarty rat. Then take that, big mouth. Ouch! Ouch! Punch me, will you? I'll show you. Together the rats crashed into a prickly bush, kicking and biting and pummeling each other. Claws, tail, and teeth came into play. They went at it with hammer and thongs for several minutes until Redtooth emerged victorious. His nose was bleeding and he'd lost a tooth, but he was in better shape than his opponent. Fangburn crawled miserably out of the wrecked bush. Both eyes were black, the clump of his left ear was missing, and his whole body was covered with long, raking claw marks and prickles. He bent painfully to retrieve his spear. Seizing the opportunity, Redtooth landed him a mighty kick on the bottom. His nose plowed into the furrow of soil. Panting furiously, Redtooth berated Fangburn. You half-witted fool! Now you see what we've done? Now you are busy assaulting a superior officer. You let the fox escape. Fangburn sat up and winced through a discolored eye. I let the fox escape? Me? Oh no, you're the one in charge. You let her get away, not me. Wait till I report this to Clooney. I'll tell him what you... Will you shut up? Redtooth yelled. This is no use for us standing here arguing. We better get searching for the fox. I'll go this way and you go that way. The first one to find her keeps shouting until the other one arrives. Here, you got that. Now let's get moving. The 2 rats stumbled off through the woods in different directions. Meanwhile, in another part of Mossflower Wood, Sheila sneaked through looking for left and right. There was a tree-topped oak. There was the abbey wall. Here it was, the old stump. Moonlight illuminated the scene clearly. She was alone. Where was the Mouse Abbot? A heavy paw clamped himself around Sheila's neck from behind. Her tongue shot out. Struggling uselessly, she gasped and choked. Constance's gruff voice growled into her ear. Be still, Fox, or I'll snap your neck like a dead twig. Seal froze. There was nothing more dangerous than a fully grown badger. Their strength and ferocity was renowned. Constance's free paws snapped the herb pouch from the fox's belt. She shook the contents out on the stump. Grabbing the copy of Clooney's invasion plan, she studied it briefly and stuffed it into her belt. Your abbot was supposed to meet me with a reward, Seal whispered. The badger's eyes blazed with contempt as he spun the figs around. Here's your reward, traitor. Whoomp! Constance dealt Seal a sharp blow between the ears. The fox fell in a senseless heap. Constance ducked behind a tree and called out in a high-pitched voice, Over here! I've got the fox! Quick, over here! Redtooth was the first to arrive. He came dashing through the bushes and halted at the sight of the unconscious fox along with the firms. Hell's teeth, Fox! Where's Fangburn? What did the devil do you mean slinking off like that? Get up on your feet and answer me. Constance emerged from behind the tree. I don't think she'll wake up for a while yet. Fancy meeting you here, Rat. Redtooth got over his surprise quickly. Seeing the badger unarmed, he swished his cutlass through the air and smiled menacingly. Well, well, it's a friend of the mice. So we meet again, Badger. Constance stood tall, her huge paws folded. Redtooth, isn't it? I see you still remember me from your defeat at the wall. I told you we had a score to settle. Redtooth bared his teeth and snarled. I'm going to enjoy this, Badger. I'll make sure you die slowly. The rat leapt at Constance and swinging his cutlass expertly. For a heavy badger, his adversary moved lightly and skillfully. Neatly sidestepping the cutlass thrust, she cuffed the rat smartly at the point of the nose. Stung with retaliation, Redtooth charged Constance with the point of his blade. A fierce kick in the ribs and a swift chop up to the claws sent the rat and the cutlass in opposite directions. Redtooth lay winded upon the ground. Constance leaned over him. Get up and retrieve your weapon, the badger growled. As Redtooth stood, he grabbed a handful of earth and flung it in Constance's eyes. The big badger staggered back, rubbing the grit which clogged her vision. The rat picked up his cutlass and swung it, slashing wildly at his enemy's thick fur. He scored several hits. Suddenly, panic gripped him. The wounded badger had seized the blade regardless of its keen edge. Constance pulled Redtooth in close. She gave a sideways kick, snapping the cutlass in two pieces. Kicking the rat over his back, she flung the broken blade away. She grabbed the rodent's tail tightly in both hands. Redtooth screamed in terror as he felt himself leave the ground to go spinning aloft over the badger's head. With the tail pulled taut and the wind whistling through his fangs, Redtooth howled as the trees went by in a green blur. Like an athlete throwing a hammer, Constance whirled over her head hind legs faster and faster, until suddenly she threw her burden with a colossal heave. Redtooth would have flown a record distance had not there been a stout sycamore tree several yards away. Ignoring her injuries, Constance called into the surrounding woods, Over here! He's over here! Then she limped swiftly off in the direction of Redwall with the captured plans. Only a moment later, Fangburn came blundering through the ferns. He tripped upon the groaning fox, who was just coming round. Here, what happened? Where's Redtooth? He asked anxiously. Sheila sat up, rubbing her paws, trying to recognize her surroundings. She saw the old stump littered with her herbs and potions. The pouch lay nearby. Holding her head with both paws, she tried to halt the thumping egg. Damn the badger's hide. She'd taken the plans from Seal as if they were confiscating acorns from a baby mouse. So much for the rich rewards. Fangburn prodded Seal with a spear. Hey you, pay attention. I asked you where Redtooth is. Seal prodded a loosened tooth with her tongue. Leave me alone. How should I know? Fangburn persisted. Now listen, Fox. I want to know what's been going on here. I'm sure I heard Redtooth calling out. Hell's whiskers. Wait until Clooney gets to hear about this. Seal pointed a shaky paw. That's your rat by the big sycamore yonder. Huh, looks like he's had a spot of bother too. Fangburn touched Redtooth with his foot. Arg. Dead. Look, the sword's been broken in two. The fox and the rat stood looking at each other, their thoughts running in parallel lines. It was obviously what had been done if they saved their skins. Right, said Seela. We'd better work out a good story to tell Clooney when we get back. He's not stupid, so we'd better get it right. The unlucky pair stumbled over through the nighttime woodland, gesticating and muttering together, weaving a fabric of lies that would hopelessly satisfy Clooney the scourge.